I'm going to get ready to switch this over. Ben, are you still there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. So I'm just going to switch the slides. Ben, you're going to tell your team everything is set. Carl, you ready from the timer point of view? Okay. This is an experiment. We're going to give it a try, and then we'll revert to everybody inside. Okay, Ben, ready? Take it away.
Thank you. It's a privilege to be with you all to speak about the Artemis Guide. Next. My name is Ben Brown. My partner on this project is John Yoon, and we are neurosurgeons at Mayo Clinic in Florida. Next. We identified a problem with a procedure called external ventricular drainage. This is a procedure that is done emergently at a patient's bedside due to high pressure in the brain, where we pass a catheter into the fluid space in the brain to relieve pressure. If this is done incorrectly, or if it has to be done multiple times, it puts risk for bleeding in the brain and neurologic deficits. Next. It's estimated about 25,000 of these procedures are done annually, and about 40% of the time it's not done exactly right the first time, and the catheter has to be pulled back and pushed back in to try to find that place in the center of the brain. About 10% of those will have some sort of bleeding or some problem which will lengthen their time in the ICU. 4-day stay in the ICU is about $25,000. So for those 1,000 complications, that's about $25 million in costs associated annually with misplaced BP. Next. We present the Artemis Guide, which is a bedside device that helps guide hand along the recommended trajectories to reach the ventricle of the brain. This would be a sterile, disposable device that will package with cranial access kits. Next slide. There are a few companies that provide cranial access kits. Our idea would be to target these companies to potentially sell this device to those companies for packaging with a device that's routinely used to drill a hole and set up the procedure. Next slide. If we could cut those complications in half by correctly navigating that catheter to the right place, that would reduce those costs to $12 million approximately. If you divide by the 25,000 EVDs annually, that's one way to get it. The cost of this device is about $500. We think there would be extra costs associated with neurologic decline and other things. Next slide. Our ask is we're trying to find $100,000 in exchange for 10% equity in the startup, and that money would be built on building this prototype. $50,000 for an engineering consultant, $10,000 for legal fees, $10,000 for overheads, and $30,000 for FDA consulting, etc. Next. Thank you for your time. Please feel free to contact me. Any questions?
Walleye. I have a question. There's not very large, well-funded medical device companies, some of which you mentioned. Why aren't they developing this device, and why does the opportunity exist for you to develop it?
This has been, I think this device has been tried in the past, not in this way, in a different way. That was a different design. It was back in the 80s. I think it failed for two reasons. One is at that time, there weren't cranial access kits, and there wasn't an easy way to package in devices in an easily accessible way. And I think at that time also surgeons less open assistive devices like this. And so I think that device went to the wayside. Nowadays, when there's such an emphasis on safety and reducing complications, and that's the way reimbursements are going in the future, I think it's an opportunity to show hospitals and surgeons that there's a safer way to do this. And I think that's why now it might be more warmly embraced.
So the guide is just sort of the physical thing that sort of sits on top of the cranium that guides the probe in. It has nothing to do with the imaging or the mapping or the precise location of where it needs to.
That's correct. There are, as people may know, very accurate stereotactic techniques, but those rely on thin slice imaging and planning, which all take time. And this particular procedure is an emergency procedure that needs to be done, ideally.
So we're about out of time. Perry, can I ask a quick question while we get the next speaker on?
So do you have patent protection on this, and how easy would it be to break such patent protection?
It broke up, but I think the question was about patent.
Yes. Do you have a patent on the device?
So we're working actually with Mayo Clinic on the patent process, but secure it at this time.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
All right. All right, Ben, we're going to sign off.
Thank you.